Welcome. Today we have a rear engine mount for a 1NZ FE Toyota engine. It's the engine in Scion XA, like mine, 2006 Scion XA. It's also found in the Toyota Echo and the Scion XB, the first gen, and I believe they used it in some Prius models. Now, I didn't take any footage of the original condition of the engine mount. So this is a picture side by side. The photo on the left is a photo of the mount as it came out of the vehicle, and the photo on the right is of the mount after I modified it and replaced the inner bushing with the poly bushing. This bracket is actually made of two pieces. The rear piece mounts into the subframe in the center there, and that's what I have in my right hand. That's where the actual bushing is that you'll be replacing. I'm trying to yank off the other member, which is attached to the engine, and that's in this photo here. It shows actually the transmission where it is mounted with 3 volts, it looks like. Um, and here I'm showing that the original bushing, this is the original bushing. It's now in two pieces because I sawed it in half while I was beating on it. I had to beat it out with a hammer. I'm kind of indicating that I had to slam it out with a sledgehammer. And there's a photo on the left here showing the results of it on that day. I actually used a chisel and a sledgehammer. And there it is, um, the results of it with the uh, bushing bashed out of it. I filed off any rough edges on this and painted it black with some spray paint real quick so it won't rust super quickly. And then I pushed the polyurethane bushing into this piece using the weight of the car. I'm going to show you the other bushing um, from the transmission mount on the driver's side of the vehicle. This is from when I was modifying that one. The original is up on the top there, the black inner bushing. And I took a drill and drilled through two different spots in there in an attempt to free it up a little bit more. I later found it was easier to use a saw to cut the inner part out to get it out of the way because it is a dampener. It was causing problems as well as chiseling to and hitting it with hammer to remove it. Of course, if I had the right tools like a press, I could have just popped that out, but I don't, and likely you don't either. Here is the upper passenger side engine mount. It's currently shown without the top strapping bar, but I'm showing it so that you see that I've changed out that one as well to the poly bushing. Here I've put the two pieces of the engine mount back together. I'm aligning the center hole so that I can put the bolt through it. I'm grabbing the old bolt, the original bolt, which had a peg on it to keep it in place, keep it from rotating. I'm just orientating it so I understand which way this went back together. Grabbing the new bolt and hardware. And I'm going to insert that and see what I can do about the length on this thing. There's about an inch and a half, inch and a quarter extra length on this that I'm going to want to cut off.
I'm going to make a little mark with a permanent marker just so I know where to make the cut. I'm going to have to clean this up. There's a sharp burr here. It's mostly flat. I'm just going to take a tap and die set and clean up the end of that. This is my grandfather's tap and die set he used when he ran a service station for most of his life. This is what I'm left with, and amazingly all the pieces are still here. That's a cool little card. All of them are here and undamaged. So let me fix this card. Not familiar with the New Britain Machine Company, New Britain, Connecticut. I'll have to look them up, see if they're still around. Alright, so actually out of this, what I need first is to figure out what thread this is. And so I'm just going to pull these out. Looks like with the fine on this side and the coarse on this side. Pretty sure this bolt is like an M10 size. I know it was a standard, so it's not an M10. So I've got this thing. I think I picked this up at Home Depot. I think it was free, maybe it was $1. Oh yeah, it's 3/8. I'm gonna say if it doesn't go in 3/8, I'm gonna be surprised. So the original bolt's an M10. I replace it with 3/8, a little bit smaller. I think it'll be fine because it's going into that round metal bushing, and that's how thick the original, that inner bushing is, or that inner piece of metal is. So I don't think it's going to eat that up over the lifetime of this vehicle. So anyway, so I'm looking at 3/8, and that's a coarse thread. I know that. I think it was 16. Let's see here, 16. Check 16 here. Yeah, I would say that's 16. All right, cool. So 3/8 by 16. I don't have to drill it. I'm just after the other piece of this set. 3/8 by 24. 16, here we go. 3/8 by 16. So should thread on there pretty easily. Yeah, I was gonna get the tool, but I don't need to. So you can put it in this holder here, like this, and then get more torque on it. But I don't have a need for that. It's pretty much perfect. So I should be able to thread a new bolt on there with no problem. I'm gonna guess I'm gonna grab a file for that. So I'm just gonna file the rest of that off. I need a fine file. There it goes. Just trying to take the edge off of that. Okay, one more time we'll run this on here. Clean up the starting of the threads so that they're nice and perfect. Now it wasn't so bad. If it was bad I was cutting actual threads or something, I'd put some oil on it. But I'm not. That's that. So now let's see. Oh, we gotta put these away. Don't want to lose those. Don't want to lose any part of this kit. This is my grandpa's kit. Alright, let's try this bolt on here. Perfect. No problem. Okay. Now, I believe this is one of the bolt holes to hold this on. So I wanted to cut this off that much so I wouldn't interfere with the tool that installs that bolt. Pretty sure there was one bolt there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Loctite in here, and then I'm going to cinch it all the way down. So, come here. Now I know I don't have to put Loctite in there, and it's probably not going to help that much more than just a lock washer, lock washer, but I just want to be overly safe because this is actually a very important part of making the engine work to its fullest. So I want to make sure that this is not going to rattle loose going down the road. Tons of vibration on the mounts, or tons of vibration is what the mounts will see through its life. Okay, I'm using Threadlocker Red 271 high strength. It's not the blue stuff that you use for most bolts on a vehicle. This is because I don't want this to shake loose. I'm just being overly cautious. That is way too much. That's okay. Most of it ended up on the lock washer. Well, I'm actually getting into all the threads, it looks like, by moving it up and down against the blobs on the lock washer. Good, that's plenty. That's gonna be more than enough. It's gonna go around the rest of the way when I put this on here. And it'll apply itself, I mean, as it goes. Now again, this is overkill. Apparently I'm really into overkill because I always do stuff way too much. Alright, let's see here. Can I brace that in any way? I did not get the bolt, or what am I trying to say here? Socket. This is a 14. Okay. There. As long as that's lock washer is compressed like that, it'll hold. I'm not going to take this loose if I can. Of course. I chose to put it against that rubber stop. Look at that. Am I going to be able to get it loose? Oh, come on. I got to do that differently. That's bullshit. There we go. So that's not going to have to come loose again. And this should be able to rotate. Yep, sure does. Okay. So this is located in the car. This is toward the rear. These two bolts are in the front toward the engine. And then this bracket bolts to the engine and transmission, I want to say. It's like got one bolt here and one here. And I think there was one here and one here too. So those were the fun ones to get while it was on the car. Alright, anyway, so this is back together. I'm going to let that sit and dry overnight. Just not going back on the car today, it's raining. Okay guys, while I was wrapping up the video for this, I realized there's a couple things I didn't mention. So the original bolt that goes through this assembly is this one here. There was a bolt in there that has a little catch on the end of this, and it's meant to lock it in place in this hole here. And so this bolt had to be drilled out because it was seized in the bushing of the original rubber damper. So it was stuck in there, and I had to drill off the end of it, which happened to end up looking like that. To actually separate these two pieces, I had to drill that other side out, and that's why I had to replace this with something else. The other thing I forgot to mention was the bushing that goes in this red polyurethane part of the damper that's replaced. It has a metal core that goes through it, but that core was this much bigger than, or wider than, this entire piece. So I was unable to put it in here without cutting off that much of that inner core piece. So I don't know if I lost the original core piece or mixed it up with another one on another engine mount. I kind of doubt it. I think it was maybe mispackaged. I didn't get any replacement hardware that would have replaced this. So I ended up having to get my own hardware, and that's why it came about like that. Anyway, this is done now.